Yeah! So, I said that I'm gonna play a One Piece game for this video. But all the games on Steam are like $50. And let's be honest, One Piece is not even worth 10 cents. Because One Piece currently is nothing more than fan fiction. Badly written fan fiction. It's not the same story as it was before. And also, everything that's happening in One Piece feels like a massive coincidence. It's not like Oda has planned out the story. I mean, all the fanboys keep saying that Oda is a genius. He has planned out the story from the start. So why does he keep adding a bunch of random bullshit into the story literally out of nowhere? What do I mean by One Piece being fanfiction? Well, let's go back. Let's go back into the past. The pre-timeskip One Piece era. So, what was the point of One Piece? What was the entire story? Well, it was to find the One Piece treasure. That was the main plot of One Piece for the longest time. And One Piece has been going for like 30 years and we still don't know what the One Piece is. One thing I want to say is that when the story kept going, new goals were added to the story. During the Marineford arc, we were like, okay, Luffy has to find the One Piece, but he also has to defeat Akainu because Akainu killed Ace. He has to get revenge, and he has to get revenge for Blackbeard because Blackbeard was the bastard that captured Ace. Pre-timeskip One Piece story is pretty much get the One Piece treasure, kill Blackbeard or fight Blackbeard, and fight Akainu. But then the story kept going, and new things were added. At the end of Fishman Island arc, it was pretty clear that the Straw Hats are going to fight against the Big Mom pirates. Because Luffy declared a war against Big Mom. And during Punk Hazard, when Luffy and Law made an alliance to take down Kaido, pretty much the entire story revolved around taking down Kaido. On Punk Hazard, Kaido's devil fruit manufacturing was destroyed. On Dressrosa, Kaido's weapon manufacturing was destroyed. One of Kaido's greatest allies, Doflamingo, was taken down. And on Zou, the Straw Hats made an alliance to take down Kaido with the Mink and the Samurai. In the next arc, the Whole Cake Island arc, Big Mom was reintroduced as a massive threat to the story. So we knew that, okay, Kaido and Big Mom are right now the major plot points in the story. But I always figured that once Kaido and Big Mom get defeated, the next thing we are going to do is have a war against the Marines so Luffy can get revenge for Ace's death. Luffy is going to face Akainu in battle. And maybe after that, we will have our final arc. The Straw Hats get to Raftel and Blackbeard is there. So the final battle is going to be against Blackbeard. I think that's pretty much what everyone figured when they were reading the One Piece story. One Piece would have ended in like 2027 or something like that. But no, that's not what happened because Oda, the genius that he is, like 800 chapters into the story, decided that I'm gonna add new things. I'm gonna add new lore. I'm gonna add new characters. I'm gonna add new villains. I mean, the story was supposed to end soon, but you're gonna add the main villain, Im-sama, like 800 chapters into the story? Are you kidding me? So yeah, right before Wano, it turns out that actually the main villain of One Piece was Im-sama the entire time. Im-sama is a character that was never mentioned, never foreshadowed. The character didn't exist. Oda just decided to add a new random villain into the story, pretty much 800 chapters into One Piece. How does that make any sense? Let's take an example from Kishimoto's Naruto. So, if we ignore the aliens that were introduced in Naruto, then let's pretend that Madara was the main villain the entire time. So, Madara literally came out of nowhere in the final arc, right? Well, except for the fact that Madara was mentioned before Shippuden. He was shown before Shippuden. Kishimoto did a great job foreshadowing Madara. But when it comes to One Piece, Im-sama, the so-called main villain of One Piece, was never mentioned, was never foreshadowed. No one talked about the guy. There was no mention of Im-sama ever before he actually showed up in the story. Make that make sense. So Oda, the guy who supposedly has planned out the entire story from the start, literally creates a main villain 20 years into One Piece. Literally like 800 chapters into One Piece. And we are all just supposed to close our eyes and pretend that, yeah, Im-sama was actually the main villain and it makes complete sense. So yeah, this introduction of Im-sama, this godly character that can turn into a giant shadowy creature that has a weapon that can literally destroy the entire planet, raise the sea levels on the entire planet. And by the way, this weapon, the Mother's Flame that Im-sama used to destroy an entire island in seconds, was also, like, never mentioned, never foreshadowed. This weapon was first shown during Egghead arc. This weapon was first mentioned during Egghead arc, because Oda is a genius at foreshadowing, apparently. So yeah, Im-sama, the main villain of One Piece, came out of nowhere 800 chapters into the story, and this super powerful weapon that can pretty much destroy the entire planet also was introduced like over 1000 chapters into the story. But that's not all. So during Wano, it was revealed that there is a new race of people that were never once mentioned ever called Lunarians. And Lunarians are the most powerful race. And literally, in the next arc, it turns out that there are these Seraphim, aka clones of Lunarians. The Seraphim had the DNA of Lunarians and Warlords mixed together. They are clones, extremely powerful creations of Vegapunk. And I find it interesting. I find it interesting how, at the end of Wano, Lunarians are revealed, and literally at the beginning of the next arc, oh yeah, there are these Lunarian creations that are extremely powerful. I could understand if Lunarians were like mentioned in Fishman Island or before that, but introducing a new race at the end of one arc and then reintroducing this race at the beginning of the next arc feels like the world is incredibly tiny. It honestly makes the One Piece world feel minuscule. Like everything is a massive coincidence in the story. Another thing that was revealed during Wano was that, well, there was a guy called Rox, one of the most powerful pirates in existence. And Rox had a crew with Kaido and Big Mom. But we knew about the old generation, okay? We knew that Whitebeard, Goldie Roger, and Shiki were the main pirates way back in the day. Rox was never once mentioned in the entire story of One Piece up until Wano. And I'm supposed to believe that this guy is a legendary pirate that everyone knows about, but he was never mentioned. Because that makes sense, right? Do you understand what I'm saying when I keep saying that One Piece feels like fanfiction? Because it does. Because Oda keeps adding new things randomly into the story, and we all have to close our eyes and pretend that, yeah, those characters, Rox and Neem-sama and Seraphim and Lunarians, they were there the entire time. They were there since the beginning of One Piece. Another thing that was mentioned were the gods, knights, these 10 powerful characters that were never mentioned again, that were never foreshadowed again, and we have to pretend that, yeah, these Scots knights were in the story the entire time. And if that's not silly enough, it turns out that the Gorosei members, the elderly, weak Gorosei members who sit on their ass all day doing nothing, just like real life politicians, well, actually, they are extremely powerful. They are more powerful than admirals. So why didn't they ever take part in any war? Uh, yeah, no idea. For some reason, they have to keep their abilities a secret because who knows? Because Oda is just making shit up at this point. One of these Kurosei members has the ability to literally turn into a giant spider-like creature with devil's horns. And he has the ability to heal from any injury. He can also teleport. So why didn't he ever teleport behind Luffy to kill him? I guess Oda is never going to explain that. And if the Kurosei members are more powerful than the admirals, what is the point of warlords? Why did the world government even hire warlords if the Kurosei members are so extremely powerful? I guess that's another thing Oda is never going to explain. When Wano arc ended, I figured that Oda wants to end One Piece as fast as possible because Wano was incredibly rushed. And that's a funny thing to say because Wano is literally the longest arc in all of One Piece. The ending of Wano was pretty much let's give good guys random power ups that they never had to defeat the evil villains. And that is the most lazy way to end a story. All the good guys were given random power ups, random awakenings, powers that they never had, and they easily defeated villains that, let's be honest, if they were given these random power ups, they had no chance against. And the way Kaido was clowned on was absolutely ridiculous. Oda introduced Kaido as the strongest creature alive, not the second, third, fourth, or fifth strongest creature alive, but the strongest creature alive. Kaido's introduction clearly said on land, on sea, on air, he is known as the strongest creature among all living things. And one arc later, Luffy is stronger, Kizaru is stronger, Kurosei are stronger, Ilm-sama is stronger, Rob Lucci is stronger. Everyone and their mother is stronger than the strongest creature alive. How can you introduce a villain, claim it's the strongest creature alive, and one arc later, after he gets defeated, there are like 10 characters stronger than the strongest creature alive? But One Piece does not feel like fanfiction at all. No. It feels like a competent manga writer wrote this shit. I also said that I'm gonna talk about how everything in One Piece now feels like a massive coincidence. What did I mean by that? Well, turning Dressrosa, CP0 was introduced. CP0 didn't exist before Dressrosa. It was always established that CP9 is the highest world government agency. But now we are all supposed to pretend that CP0 existed the entire time. They were never mentioned because, I don't know, Water 7 and Enies Lobby focused on CP0. I'm sorry, CP9 because CP0 didn't exist. It focused on CP9 as the main villains. And not once was it ever mentioned that there is actually CP0 and they are more powerful than these super powerful CP9 agents. Turning Whole Cake Island, it was revealed that Sanji's family are actually the Windsmokes, the Germa Double Six, and the Germa Double Six are world famous. Everyone knows about them. They are like celebrities, but not once before they actually showed up in the story were they ever mentioned. Because that makes sense, right? World famous, but no one ever mentions them before they actually show up in the story. Another thing that feels like a massive coincidence are awakening abilities. Before Doflamingo awakened his devil fruit at Dressrosa, there were no awakened users. I mean, Impel Down jailers are a complete joke, so I'm not even gonna talk about them. We had a massive war, Whitebeard pirates and allies fighting against the world government, and there was not a single awakened devil fruit user in a massive war. So Doflamingo awakens his ability, and literally every arc after that, we have an awakened devil fruit user. On Whole Cake Island, we have Katakuri. After that, Law, Kid, Luffy get awakenings. After that, Rob Lucci and Kaku get awakenings. But before Doflamingo awakened his abilities, where were all the awakened devil fruit users? Were they hiding? I mean, this doesn't make a lot of sense. How is it possible that Kaku and Roblutsi are awakened devil fruit users, Kid and Law are awakened devil fruit users, but Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, where were their awakenings? Kizaru, Akainu, Aokiji? There are so many powerful characters that don't have awakenings, but Roblutsi, Kaku, Kid and Law are awakened. That that doesn't make any sense at all. And this is why One Piece feels like fan fiction.